Ever wonder what it's like to stuff 125 horsepower into a tiny three-wheeler chassis? Yeah, me too. That's why in the last episode, I took some time to prepare a 1980s Honda 200X three-wheeler rolling chassis. Yes, I did know this is a 200X, but mistakenly called it a little bit of everything, and fit it in a 1996 Honda CBR 600 street bike engine, to play with life a little more on the dangerous side of speed and fun, because that's what life's about for me. So if you enjoy seeing crazy amounts of horsepower getting stuffed into chassis they really don't belong in, then sit back and enjoy today's compelling combination build of two legendary machines combined into one. Welcome back, Stupid Fast Nation. How are you guys doing today? Bringing you back for the CBR 600 powered atc250r. Now, in the last video, we were able to get the motor completely installed, and in this video, I want to finish up a lot of things in order to get this thing first started for you guys. So, we've got to make a fuel tank for this. I found a good location, so we're gonna get that hand fabricated and installed. I got a fuel pump and a bunch of other goodies in the mail, so we can get the intake setup done, get the electronic components hooked up, and hopefully get this thing at least fired up and get to listen to those sweet, sweet sounds of the street bike goodness. So without further ado, let's get started with working on the atc250r. So the first thing we're gonna do is get started on the intake, because without that, I don't think this thirsty, gas-sucking, horsepower-pumping, adrenaline-fueled inline four-cylinder beast will run properly without it. We will start by taking the old plastic intake box and a sheet from your mom's sheet steel from the local steel outlet and carve out a base plate for the carburetors. We'll trace an outline, drill some holes, and add some fancy-dancy plasma cutting, finishing it up by smoothing any rough edges. Looking good. Next, we're gonna lay some pipe down, and not the kind you'd find at your mom's local steel outlet. No, for this kind, we're going to be using some old and some new 2-inch exhaust pipe I had laying around. We'll make some rough cuts while shaping the area out for the second set of jets that I haven't even Googled what they're for yet, but I'm going to pretend I know what they're for. Let's call them group jets, because they're like little groupies hanging out at the back of the real party happening up front where the needle's sliding in your mom's, letting all the fuel and air in, of course. But all your mom jokes aside, these little guys are called main air jets and basically allow extra air to mix in with the main jet's fuel for the air-fuel mixture. I had to look all over the internet to find this out. Okay, now with that out of the way, we'll finish cutting the pipe, notch it for a nice bend, as well as tack it all in place and get a rough idea what it will look like. Everybody keeps asking me why I call this an atc250r. I did that because most of the 200X parts will be removed and replaced with 250R parts like the front suspension, gas tank, rear plastics and seat, and even pieces of a swing arm. I also do have a 1981 atc250r up on my shelf that I was going to cut up for this project, but I have way too much love for the legendary bikes, especially a first year like the 81. So I wound up finding a cheap 200X chassis donor to take its place. Once everything is tacked into place, we'll need a template for the group jet inlet funnel area thing, so we'll use some cheap-ass Walmart poster board. Once we get a rough idea for the shapes, I'll cut and weld them into place piece by piece. This can be very time consuming, but well worth it in the long run for the power gains. Eventually, I got tired of sitting on the floor and overcame my laziness by clearing off the welding table and do it the right way. God damn my brain and rushing mentality sometimes. This was what the first one looked like. I decided to do the tack technique this time to show you guys how I used to do it backyard style before I had a better welding setup and a better shop. I was going to do TIG, but yet again that goddamn laziness snuck in and I justified why I could do it quicker by tacking it tack by tack. Tisk tisk brain. This is what the finished product basically looks like. That cheap China billet goodness, guys. Can't get enough of that cheapness.
Alright, so the intake came out really nice. I wanted to show you guys something here. I wound up doing the back like this on each one of these. What I did was cut this up as far as I could because when the air goes in, I want the air to go down the back side into those back jets. I also cut the center of this out so that way this could remove each side separately. And then, you know, you could see these extra jets. I'm not sure what those are for yet. I didn't do a lot of work on street bike carbs in the past. They could be air, they could be fuel, but the air definitely needs to get to them no matter what. So that's why we cut those open right there. So then now you can see the air can pass through there, and it's almost like it helps create a Venturi effect, which will help the air pass in there and not pass over it and down through the slide, so that both areas will get similarly equal amounts of air. So I think it did come out pretty sick. Really loving the way this looks. Let's continue on.
In the essence of time and wanting to hear this sucker first fire, I decided to cheat my way through the carb cleaning and just blow them out with air. This eventually backfired on me anyways, as the fuel started overflowing out of two carbs when I got them float bowls full of fuel.
Alright, so as you can see, the wiring here is quite a mess. Now, fortunate enough for me, I have done quite a few street bike swaps, and I've done so many wiring harnesses with cars, ATVs, dirt bikes, turbo, nitrous, everything. You know, I've been doing this stuff for a long time, so I have a very good, vast knowledge of wiring harnesses. I go online, I pull up a wiring diagram. That's pretty much where I start with this. I pull out all the wiring, I jump all the switches out. I jumped out the kickstand switch, I jumped out the clutch switch. You know, all the things that we won't need for this swap, I jump those out, and I'll wind up shortening the harness later. But for now, just to get this running, I went ahead and just jumped those out. So we've got everything jumped out. And the very first thing we want to do is engage spark. We want to make sure the CDI and pickup coil are producing a solid spark. So I went ahead and jumped everything out. I'll show a clip here. I've got the start switch working, and we've got a generic BR8 ES spark plug put on it, which is not the plug for this motor, but we're just using it to basically check spark. So as you can see, this bad boy does have spark. And then the next step is we want to get it running. I did go ahead and check the oil. The oil actually looks really clean in this. Aside from the burn mark on the piece of harness, which I will show right here, as you can see, the stator plug somehow burned apart. So not sure what was going on with that, but the engine does look healthy. It does sound healthy when turning over, and the wiring harness outside of that one connection looks to be in pretty good shape overall. So I went ahead and ran this line, which y'all might laugh at me for this, but it's basically just to get the thing running because we have so much to do till we can first ride this thing that I was like, I really just want to get the first start nailed down. I want to hear and make sure this motor sounds healthy before I go ahead and spend, 30 hours fabricating a fuel tank and all this other stuff and the custom exhaust and, all those things that are very labor and time intensive. I definitely want to make sure that this motor is good to go before I do all that stuff, because I already have quite a bit of time wrapped up in this. But if I need to go find another 95 to 98 CBR 600, you can find those on Marketplace for a couple $100, so no big deal. And then we're gonna hook the spark plug wires up, and then we're gonna spray some starting fluid and see if we can get a first start on her.
I bet the New Jersey gas station filler guy thanks God that all gas tanks don't require a 12-foot ladder to fill. Maybe not, but I definitely was today.
Ouch. I have no idea if this is gonna fire. I have everything kind of jerry-rigged, and the spark plug wires, 2 of them are 90s and they won't go all the way down to the spark plugs. So I took the boot off and kind of just put the wire on. We're gonna see if we get it to fire anyways. And 2 of the carburetors are kind of flooding a little bit. So I let them kind of drain that line out real quick. So there should be some in the float bowls, hopefully enough to get it fired. Take 1. That's a good sign. Get some starter fluid. Come on, baby. Whoop, she caught a flame out the exhaust. Come on. You're right there. Come on, baby. Oh, that battery's not going to last very long. Counts. No smoke, so I ain't blowing it out your ass. Alright, we got a lot to do yet. I can't run it for long anyways because I don't have a radiator hooked up, there's no coolant, and it's gonna need spark plug wires without a doubt. And we should get the intakes on. That'll help the velocity with the air and the fuel going into the carburetors. It'll help to mix out big time. You could also tell she's not running 100% because the spark plug wires definitely aren't touching all the way on 2 of them, so it might be slightly missing on 2 of the cylinders also. But yeah, guys, that's a first start for y'all. Get it.
Can't get enough of that cheapness.